Hello and welcome to Lotus Yoga and Counseling. If you are new here, my name is Kailani. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and registered yoga teacher in Washington State. And if you can hear the meowing, it's my cat on the catio, and she really wants to come in. Of course, she started meowing as soon as I hit the play button or the record button. Anyway, I have just returned from a trip with my husband to Universal Studios Hollywood. We'd never been there before, and as someone who does experience stress and anxiety in pretty big doses, especially when out in public, I thought it would be helpful to share some of the things that I didn't do that I would have done differently, and things that I did do that I'm really glad I did because it helped me hold on to some spoons while I was there. We were on our trip for 6 days, stayed at a hotel that was in walking distance of Universal Studios, and took Ubers everywhere. I have a lot to say about the Ubers in California. So if this interests you, if you are going to California for a trip, if you're going to Universal Studios, even maybe the one in Florida, this might still be helpful information. Or if you're thinking of going to a theme park this summer, stick around. I hope I have some information that will be helpful for you. Let's talk about the things that I did do correctly that really helped. First and foremost, I had to do some pre-planning before I went on this trip. I am someone who suffers from anxiety and PTSD, and I have a real hard time being in public places with lots of people, aka theme parks. And I knew this was going to be tricky because I accidentally booked our trip starting on Memorial Day. Some people are already home or traveling home on Memorial Day. So luckily I booked our flight really early, literally early in the morning. So we actually got through Seattle-Tacoma Airport really quickly and had time to spare once we got there. If you're someone who also gets really nervous going on planes, or even just the process of waiting at the gate and then getting on the plane, this might be a bit controversial, but one of the things that we started doing when we booked our seats on planes was we started booking seats at the very back of the plane. We discovered this when we were going to Scotland last year for Christmas. I wanted to be near the bathrooms, near the flight attendants, near spots where, the flight attendant area is bigger so you can get up and stretch. And it's typically quieter in the back of the plane. Also, quieter in the sense that there aren't as many people back there. Everybody's ahead of you, in front of you. And yes, there's engine noise back there, but it acts like a white noise machine in some ways. So what we did was, not only were we strategic about where we were seated on the plane, but because we're seated at the very back, that means our boarding group is last. So we got to sit there not having to worry about, being jack in the boxes, oh, did they call our group? No, okay, we got to sit down. And watching all the people file in, worrying about getting in line to get to our seats, all of that's gone if you sit in the back of the plane on purpose. So then you just wait and you hang out and you play a game on your Switch or read on your phone or whatever, and let other people do their thing so that you don't have to worry about it. They're already seated by the time you get on the plane. If you're trying to sit anywhere else, you're then having to get your seat on the plane, wait for all the people ahead of you to put the stuff up in the storage bins and find their seat. And there's all that shuffling and it's very loud and people are up against you. So if you're someone who suffers from trauma or anxiety, maybe even OCD, that is not helpful. Somatic processing disorder, autism, ADHD, you feel all of that 10 times more strongly. It's almost like the person behind you is breathing down your neck, even if they're physically not. It's just the proximity is too uncomfortable. Auditory overstimulation, physical overstimulation. Obviously, it's just a lot. So if you choose the back of the seats or back of the plane, everybody's already seated. You just kind of go right through. So that is something we started doing late last year when we started flying, and we have not looked back from the decision to do that ever since. Let's take a minute to talk about my dear friend Dramamine. Dramamine, I particularly like the kind that is completely non-drowsy, that's made of ginger. It's technically a supplement. And I think I might even have it. If I don't, I'll try to link it. Do I have it? No, I have Advil. Please make sure you have Advil. No, I don't have it. It's upstairs. Great preparation work, Kailani. But Dramamine with ginger. It is not just for motion sickness that you're anticipating, like going on a ride or being in a bumpy car or a bumpy plane, but it also just helps with nausea. And you can take it 30 minutes ahead of time if you know you're going to be in a situation where you need it. You can also take it as soon as you realize, like, okay, these icky feelings aren't going away. I have to take something. So I highly recommend that you have Dramamine. Quick note, do make sure that you are following the directions for usage on them. I have taken some types of Dramamine before or something similar where you only need 1 capsule per adult for like 6 hours or something. But the one I took with me to California was 2 doses per adult. And you couldn't exceed 4 in 24 hours. Somehow I missed that, so it was almost as if I hadn't taken it. When I started taking the 2 doses per day or per, 12 hours, I felt much better after that. And quick tip, if you have like a coin purse on the back of your wallet, or you have one of those nifty little like coin pockets in your pants, that's where you can put just like a dose of medication. So like oftentimes my husband would know that he doesn't want to take his entire bottle of medication with him for his 2nd dose of Adderall. So he'll just pop the 2nd dose in my little, coin purse on my wallet, and he knows that I've got it with me. And I would do the same thing with Dramamine. Maybe you want to do that with Advil, or I'm lactose intolerant, so I also take a lot of Lactaid pills with me. So that's a really good way to just carry enough of what you need. Speaking of medication, I knew this was going to happen. I don't know why I always do this. I took one look at my my clonazepam, and I was like, no, I don't think I'm going to need that. I'm going to work through the really big anxiety moments. Big regret. Not at the theme park, but when we were walking on the Hollywood, like Walk of Fame Boulevard with all the stars, that area of LA is really overstimulating. And it's not just the amount of people, it's like you've got the people who are like trying to shove brochures in your face, like, take our tour, and we're the ones that have the lowest prices for this, and they just jump out at you. And that really freaked me out, not knowing where we were going. The cars driving by are going really fast. People are taking photos everywhere. They stop in front of you on the sidewalk and they take a photo of like Benedict Cumberbatch's star. I know some people call themselves Cumberbitches, whatever. So that was the one place I really wish that I had brought it, especially because we went to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum. And I'll tell you this, if you've never been there, what they do is it's like booby trapped. So you're going through, it's not just a museum where you look at things, because there are spots where you can like crawl underneath the exhibits and see exhibits that are like underneath the floor. And I got close to what looked like some sort of little bug exhibit, and I got puffed with I got sprayed with something. I think it was just air, but it freaked me out. And I was afraid to move after that. My husband was like, come out of there then. But I didn't want to move in case there was more. And then there was like this little old vintage Coca-Cola cooler. And when you open it up, this like rattlesnake shoots out at you. And after like going through 3 rooms of Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, I didn't trust anything. I was like, I'm not opening that. I'm pretty sure if I go over there, a robot's gonna come spring out at me. So if you go to the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum, which I do still recommend, just be aware that it's a little more interactive than maybe you would have otherwise thought. Okay, quick water break. Which brings me to my next point. Water in California isn't great, especially if you're a native of the Seattle area or maybe parts of Alaska, anywhere where your water is fresh mountain runoff, like mountain stream snow runoff, where the water quality is different than where you're going. I'm extremely sensitive to local water outside of Washington. Like the first time I went to California and drank the water from a water fountain, I puked. Same thing happened when I went to Texas and Colorado, surprisingly. Some part of Colorado I got sick. So I really regret not bringing like a water bottle with a built-in purifier. I used to have one. It was like a Brita brand water purifier that had like the straw in it, and you just put your water in it, and I think it got gross or something. It was my neglect that caused me to need to throw it out. But not only would it have just been convenient, it would have been way cheaper. When we were at Universal Studios, the most expensive water bottle, just a stereotypical like Dasani water bottle, was $13. It was unreal. The hotel sold them in the like shop for $8. Granted, yes, I know that when you go to these places, these tourist locations, it's part of what they do. They're trying to make money for their hotel or their theme park. Then they have to factor in price because they need to pay city taxes and maybe county taxes and blah, blah, blah. So that was my fault. That was our fault that I didn't prepare with a proper water bottle. And also because we kept drinking it and then running out, we would have to pause whatever we were doing to go find water. So, rookie move. Something else I didn't do, which you're gonna laugh if you've been following this channel or know me at all for any length of time, is I didn't bring anything to craft with. My clients who are watching this are gonna be like, what? You didn't take anything to do with your hands? No, I forgot my summer journal. I forgot any journal. I didn't bring an embroidery hoop project. I didn't bring anything to color with. I don't know why. I don't know. It just didn't occur to me to pack these things. So again, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, you'll know that this is my summer journal that I am working on this summer. And I've already started it because apparently Seattle has decided that we're into like the 80-degree weather already, and that means summer has come. So I got home from this 6-day trip and immediately was like gluing down souvenirs and brochures and like was writing everywhere, and there's pictures, and I'm like, why didn't I bring this? So the next time I go on a trip for any length of time, even if it's just overnight, I'm gonna make sure I take this, and I'm gonna make myself a little pack of for ephemera, make sure I have glue and stickers and some things to color with. And also I met Hello Kitty, which was amazing. She was really sweet. She didn't say a word, but she was really sweet. She was like this. It was so fun. Okay, so should have brought something to craft with. Having my Switch was not enough. I brought my Switch and I was playing Dreamlight Valley, but it's not really meant for the Switch. I think it's a PC game that they ported to the Switch, and it was just kind of janky. So should have brought something to write with. That's probably why I kept going back to the stationery set at Harry Potter World. Should have just bought it. Let's take a second to talk about Blink cameras. Not affiliated with Blink. I'm not trying to do a plug necessarily, but we started getting these Blink cameras from Amazon because we needed to keep an eye on our pets when we weren't in the same room with them, because they're really naughty, because our rabbits chew on things, and our cat is like an escape artist, and our guinea pigs, blah, blah, blah. So we got these Blink cameras in packs of 2. I put little stickers on them so I know which one is which. You download the app that comes with them, and you can move them around and put them anywhere, but they do have to be plugged in to work. So we had to get kind of creative with like taping them in some places and putting them up on things so they were high enough. But at first it was just for pet cams because you can talk through them. It's like a one-way radio system, which is good for us and for our pets because they don't like when we're away. So we could talk to them, and even just hearing our voice, we could tell it perked them up a little bit. But then we also made sure to get some for the inside of our living room, which also shows the entryway to the house, and our driveway, which shows the porch. So pet cam and home security cam. The reason I mention this in this particular video is because I am prone to a bit of homesickness, especially because we have pets, and so is my husband. So we got to talk to them, and we got to see what home looked like while we were gone, which is how we knew that the weather was way better in Seattle than when we were in LA, where it was cloudy and like 70 degrees the whole time. It was, at best, it was really weird. So that was one of the ways that we kind of kept connected to the home that we were missing while we were gone. Other little creature comforts, things that actually make quite an impact when you're away from home, is having things like your favorite tea. I have this really cute little tea bag holder, and I currently have maybe 7 tea bags of varying flavors in here. And these are things I drink on a regular basis. So that kind of helped me keep the routine. And also things like having peppermint tea is something my gut biome is used to. Having this with me on our trip really helped a lot to keep my body functioning the way it normally would when I was at home. Gum, of course, always good for when you're on the plane, taking off and landing. And things like when you're nervous and you need to chew on something instead of your fingers or whatever. And also making sure you've got a minted gum, because that also can help settle your stomach. We're just gonna go through the purse now. By the way, I got a purse at Honeyduke's and it's so cute. If you're anxious, you'll know that one of the things your body has difficulty with is thermoregulating. You often get overheated, or you get that like weird anxious chill through your body. So sometimes it helps to bring a fan. A little hand fan that can actually fold up and fits in your purse or your backpack is a huge asset. So, yeah, and I'm not necessarily trying to like really cool myself down like I'm in front of an AC, but just this gives me something to do. A repetitive motion is comforting, and it does help me to feel like I'm a little more in charge of what my body is capable of. Like, I can cool myself down, it's okay. I am in charge of my body. And when that wasn't enough, or I didn't have a hand free, we had a cooling towel, which came from Daiso and has polar bears. Oh wait, what? Oh. Another little thing that matters, a sleep mask. Good for the plane and the hotel. And my husband had a fan as well. This one has cats and bells. Sunglasses. That's pretty much the most important stuff that I brought, I think. Band-Aids. I needed this the first day we were at the park because I wore the wrong shoes. Let's also take a second to thank the new generation of AirPods. Again, not necessarily a plug, not sponsored, but can we just talk about how amazing these things are just for the sake of noise canceling? Because it's the kind that squishes into your ears, and you might not necessarily want to listen to anything, or maybe they're dead, but if you want them while you're in a crowd or in a loud place, you can put them in and just use them as earplugs. And it's so nice. So, highly recommend those. and or just bringing earplugs, which I also always have in my purse because I don't like, most of the time it's because I don't like the music that's playing in stores or something. So there is always stuff like that in my purse. And if you get like the Max brand, it comes with this little carrying tube and it fits 2 earplugs. So I've got like a cat hair in my mouth. Cats. Let's talk about rides. First of all, we need to internalize that as we age, our bodies change. I didn't used to have motion sickness issues the way that I do now. I could ride rides at major theme parks and I would be totally fine. Roller coasters, whatever. I have learned as I have aged, I can do like motion in front of me, like in VR, even to some extent, VR is an issue. I can play video games with PC, with Switch, whatever, because I'm moving the environment and my character. But when you add in the fact that there's something moving in front of you and you're moving and it's completely out of your control, you're prone to motion sickness. And I went on the Forbidden Journey ride in Harry Potter World, which I actually now regret that we didn't wait in line for it. And I'll tell you why very specifically. When you wait in line for the Forbidden Journey Harry Potter World ride, you get to go through Hogwarts. Like, they have recreated it. It is flippin' beautiful. You would not believe the detail they put into this ride. Into the ride and into the Harry Potter castle, because you get to go through classrooms, you get to see characters, you basically are there as much as you can be. And along the way, they have all these placards and signs that say things like, if you're prone to motion sickness, this ride is not for you. Had I seen that, I would have finished going through the castle, and then when you get to the moving sidewalk where you sit down in the, like, chair, I guess you'd call it, for the ride, I would have let my husband go on, and I would have stayed there and waited for him, because the entrance is also the exit. You leave the same way you came. Well, I didn't see those because we were the first ones there. And me and like the group of 20 people that we came into the ride with, we were all moving through the castle really quickly to get to the ride portion. So I didn't see those signs. So we got on the ride, and I literally have trauma from this ride. I am experiencing flashbacks of it. My body is feeling it. Body keeps the score. And I can remember that within the first 10 seconds of that ride, I got flipped up on my back and was looking at what I assume is the ceiling. I don't even know what most of that ride looked like because I had to shut my eyes and do deep breathing exercises in order to not throw up. I threw up. 10 seconds left in the ride probably, and I puked. And there went not only my breakfast, but my medication, my daily maintenance medication for things like my heart and my anxiety. So luckily it had been long enough. I was told I absorbed enough of it. I didn't need to take another dosage, but it didn't ruin the rest of the day, but it was what I needed to know to make an informed decision about whether or not I could go on the other rides. We didn't go on the other rides. I don't even think Dramamine would have helped me with that ride. It was so violent. We were thrashing around, and it's one of those rides where you like pull the thing down in front of you and you hold on in front of you, and you know, your legs will be going one way, your head's going another way, you're holding on for dear life, your body knows something is wrong. And it was also very interactive, like it had hot steam blow at you to mimic the dragon's breath. And there is like the characters like Harry, Ron, and Hermione are part of it, and you can hear them say, like, yelling at you, like, hold on tight and keep up, the Dementors will get you. And so you would have like these flashing lights of potions exploding, and at one point, like, they had an animatronic Whomping Willow that like was right in front of my face. It was unreal. There was also no real storyline as far as I could tell for what this ride was about. So I didn't know how long it was gonna last. I didn't know what to expect, what kind of imagery, what kind of sounds, what kind of anything. My body was, I had no control over my environment and what happened to my body, and I didn't know how long it was going to last. So when you think about it that way, no wonder I feel like I was traumatized by that ride. I have also heard that it's kind of a new fad for there to be these immersive kind of VR experiences where you are strapped into something and you are getting like sprayed with scents and sprayed with like mists and stuff to represent the environment you're supposed to be viewing. If you have trauma, I highly recommend you don't do these things unless you maybe take, again, Dramamine or clonazepam or anything for anxiety, or maybe you've seen a video of what you're going to experience so you at least don't have to worry about when this is going to end. Kids love it. I saw a lot of adults come out happy about their experience on the ride or rides at Universal Studios. I feel activated just talking about this ride. So I'm glad that I got to see the part ahead of time. I took a couple of videos of certain things while I was walking through the castle part of it. My husband was super sweet, trying to tell me, like, it's okay, this is gonna be over soon. I think the ride was maybe like 4 minutes long. I think. I actually have no clue. I'm sure it didn't last as long as this like lingering trauma experience that I still have. So again, if there's any way that you can look up motion sickness like guidelines for any of the attractions you might be going to, I would highly do this. It was not listed on the app for Universal Studios that this is a highly motion sickness activating kind of ride. Had I known that, I wouldn't have even tried. So that's honestly the biggest piece of information I think I would like someone to walk away from, is just to validate that your body does go through a lot when you go to these theme parks, especially if you're already prone to mental health struggles or mental health experiences such as anxiety and trauma. All in all, I'm glad I went on this trip. There are certain things I wish I would have done, but you can't prepare for everything. So I'm still kind of, that's one of the reasons I'm doing this video, is to kind of process what I experienced. And as always, I like to share my life experiences just in case it happens to help anyone else, in case I can pass on the knowledge, like the pay it forward kind of concept. So that's the Forbidden Journey at Hogwarts. I do recommend that you go to Harry Potter World and try butterbeer. It's as good as they say it is. Eat at the Three Broomsticks because it's authentic food. It's really good, and it's not as overpriced as I thought it was. And do treat yourself while you're there, because now we have personalized Ravenclaw robes, and that's super duper fun. And just a quick thing before I let you go, or you let me go, is that we went on this trip and we were surrounded by a lot of like celestial kind of aesthetics by being in Harry Potter World, and then when we went to the Griffith Observatory. So my husband and I are kind of redoing aspects of our home to be more celestial themed because we realized it helped us to feel more calm. So I have some crafts to show you in future videos about how we are taking things we already own and turning them into celestial themes using different kinds of colors that remind us of celestial themes, and even changing up our happy light by putting dark blue tissue paper over it. That changed the ambiance of our bedroom, and it helped us to get to sleep a lot faster. So more of that kind of content to come. Thank you so much for watching this video, even if you only watched a snippet of it. I hope it was helpful. Again, if you know someone who would benefit from this content, please like, share, subscribe, all the good stuff, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!